feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. A man with a vision. Got a passion. Figuring it out. New look, got the ladies shook. New watch saying it's my time. These magazines wanna feature me, cause they know I'm on the rise. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. Cause ever since I flipped that switch, my power can't be denied. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. Call me a king, you can buy me a crown. Oh my, 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 oh my, my, my. I'm leveled up, and this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. Get the attention, I'm on a mission. A man with a vision. Got a passion. Figuring it out, ready for action. And this is my world now. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. So anyone who tried to write me off, tell them they can go and write this down. This is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. And this is my world now. This is my world now. Hey! Here we go! We coming ready or not, you better steady yourself, because we're raising some hell. There's nothing keeping this roof from blowing off. We're taking over the town, hit the switch and shut it down. Like Indy, we're electric, never stop. We're coming ready or not, we're coming ready or not. We're giving all that we got, we're giving all that we got. We're coming ready or not. We're throwing gas on the fire, the stratosphere.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
And a good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to coverage of the Northwest Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV. We're at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, on the virtual iRacing sim tonight. We're ready to go for 200 miles, 80 laps. As after a week off, we're back to it again with the final 4 races of the regular season until the run to the playoffs. Good evening to Indianapolis we go. I am Wesley Outland, joined alongside is special color analyst, normally of the dirt world, doing some little pavement tonight, Alex Robinson. Cody Demers is, of course, our producer, director tonight, and executive producer Charles Wooten. Well, Alex, Indianapolis, man, 2.5 miles. This is a very strategic track. It can have some thrills and chills and spills, and obviously we'll see what goes on here at Indianapolis as qualifying has just got underway.
Yeah, this racetrack is very interesting. From running this racetrack, it's difficult, Wesley, and especially if it's hot and burning up tires. It's very fun. And Wesley, I don't know what to expect. Honestly, this racetrack brings a curveball every single time I've either watched or raced this racetrack.
Yeah, we'll see. As right now, Ryan Bloom works his way off track. Here you see some of these other trucks working around the speedway. William Fletcher in the 28 machine. B.J. Tidrick right there in tow, as these drivers are qualifying on their course by themselves. But obviously we have multiple trucks at one time, and we're trying to keep up with them. Look at Toby Ritters, 52.632. He's the top man on the board right now. B.J. Tidrick there to the short chute of the speedway. Same thing for Fletcher as he works his way off of turn number 4, coming down to the yard of bricks. here at the start-finish line. William Fletcher, the Texaco Haviland colors for his Ford. Where will he end up? As Fletcher will cross the line. And Fletcher will end up 8th, 53.085 seconds. There we see now Kevin Smith on course. Toby Ritter's right now the man to bump for the pole as we watch these drivers still wrap up their qualifying run here. And less than 20 trucks here tonight, Alex.
And you look at it, top 6 in the 52-second range, and then from 7th on back so far, 53-second range. But you look at how close 2nd and 3rd are on the time charts there, Wesley. And we've always said qualifying plays pivotal, and it definitely plays pivotal of a front row spot or a second row spot.
Kevin Smith with 11 minutes on the clock left will end up qualifying. Hell, he didn't take time. I think he might have ran off course and his time got disallowed. Here's Dan West Jr., Shelton, Washington native in the 55, Team LSRTV West Racing entry. As Ritter's Bloom, Dan West Jr. already 3rd. Wants to try to climb to the pole if he can. He works his way off of the corner. Nope, man, he's going to say, no, I'm going to skip this lap. I'm happy with what I got. He'll retire to the pit lane. Toby Ritter's Ryan Bloom, Dan West Jr. Here comes Frank Harris, driver of late that's really turned some heads in the Northwest. To go Oregon Ducks as football season less than a month away. Let's check in with the 3rd member of our broadcast crew to get his analysis tonight as he'll be working pit road here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll check in with him very, very soon as he is trying to find some stories along the way. Frank Harris, the number 10, working his way around the short chute. Oh, whoop, Alex, look at that. Got a little loose there coming off of that turn out of 4.
And Wesley, I'll ask you, from the other end of someone who's watched these races, have called this racetrack a lot more than I have, what have you seen or what do you expect as you watch qualifying so far? What do you expect out of this feature? There's the dirt side out of the race here tonight.
I think one of the words, as we watch Kevin Smith now for the 2nd attempt, work his way down the front straightaway, see if he can actually get on the board this time. Then 00 Kevin Smith will end up on the pole. Look at that. 52.501. 9 minutes left to go in qualifying, and out of nowhere comes Kevin Smith to the top of the board after having his first lap disallowed, or he decided to park it before he officially went on the clock. Smith now laying down a monster lap. You're referring to Indianapolis, and obviously, this is a racetrack where it's 200 miles, it's 80 laps, so you've got to kind of pace yourself. We could see a race where there could be a lot of calamity. A lot of give and take needs to be done here, especially on a track of this size. And honestly, Alex, if you can at least get to the final 20 laps of the race, I think that's when you really are going to see the intensity definitely pick up for sure. So get to the end, get these first 3 quarters of the race out of the way, get to that 20-lap shootout, and see what the cards may be. Let's check in now with the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. He'll be patrolling up and down pit lane, finding stories, finding interviews, and more. James Vining, what's up, Catman?
I'm just down talking with Win Racing there. Looks like they did get the pole, just Toby didn't get it. But yeah, he was having some problems earlier, had a bolt fall out. He had to go find it and put it back in. So he's just, he's hoping to have a good night, and I think he will.
Whatever problem that James Vining, thank you for that report. Whatever problem that Alex Kevin Smith had, like we just heard, he figured it out, and he figured it out in a hurry. And obviously, he's got a truck strong enough that can climb to the pole, and that's exactly what he did. We're going to go racing now here in Indianapolis. And as a matter of fact, let's give you your starting lineup as 20 trucks are ready to go here. 200 miles and 80 laps. That's Kevin Smith there on the pole. As we just mentioned, that West Coast CLICKIT RV bomb speed. CLICKIT RV 00 from Walla Walla, Washington. And you got Clifford back, teammate to Win Racing, Toby Ritters, row 1. Row 2, Ryan Bloom, Win Racing again, your top 3. And Dan West Jr. on the outside of the 55, 2-time series champion. Stephen O'Hare in the 41. Jeff Stabnow. Could tonight be a night he gets back into victory lane with the truck? He'll start in the 6th position. Row 4, we'll find Dan Lowther in the 63. To his outside, the legend, there he goes in that Ford of Frank Harris. And row number 5, Alex will find B.J. Tidrick starting 9th in the 72. Devin West will fire off 10th in the 5. Alex, are you there, buddy?
There we go. Sorry. Mixer just unplugged for some reason. William Fletcher will start on the inside of row number 6 to the outside, the 18 of Roy Grand. Troy Daggett will start the 99 inside of row number 7 to the outside, the 47 of Christopher White. Tyler King will start inside of row number 8 in the 21 to the outside, the 7 of Brett Johnson. Row number 9 will have the 46 of Sean Breitzman on the inside to the outside, the 58 of Stephen Paulson.
Well, there's your lineup. A couple of drivers, I think, have bowed out of the 20 to attempt to go in this race. I believe those are Chris Kynes, Ron Hunter, and Carl Burke, unless they are starting from the pits. But of the 21 trucks, 18 on course as we get you ready to go. Down the back stretch here at this 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2.5 miles. There's the short chutes in between the corners of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 on the same ends of the spectrum. This track, you drive and race differently in turn 1 and 2 than you will to 3 and 4 on exit. Coming out of the short chute, working your way to the start-finish line to approach the yard of bricks. As right now they are off the back stretch going into turn number 3, into that short chute here at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ready to go for 200 miles, 80 laps. Kevin Smith and Toby Ritters on your front row. Pace car lights are off. Pace car will get ready to veer to the left and drop onto the pit lane. Just about time to go here at virtual Indianapolis. The field now works his way with the 20 trucks, or 18, to the starting box as they work out of turn number 4 down the straightaway. There you see from the flag stand view from Cody Deemers, green flag goes in the air. You have a race. We're underway here in Indy. Kevin Smith, Toby Ritters right there on the outside. Look at Bloom reeling in with West as they work off the short chute. Heading your way, Alex Robinson, into turn number 2 to the backstretch.
Smith going to lead for the time being. Ritters now looking to that inside, and you see Wesley as you see it. 2x2 on back behind your front 2 here as side by side for the 3rd spot and for that 5th spot as well. You have Bloom, Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare, Jeff Stabnow. Those are battles going on within your top 5 already on lap number 1. But again, you see everyone now going to the bottom, single filing it out through those corners.
They'll storm down to the start-finish line, and opening lap will give it to Kevin Smith. Smith with about a quarter-second lead already over teammate Toby Ritters. Look at now Tidrick. Tidrick and Dan West Jr. have a little battle there. That's going on in outside in the top 10. You got also Devin West. Thought he was going to poke a nose out of there was Frank Harris. We'll get back in line. Single file, they work their way off that corner. Kevin Smith now continuing, Alex, to open up this big lead over everybody here in the opening laps here in Indianapolis.
And as you see, Wesley, though, a lot of these drivers now singling it out, and with 80 laps, by Tyler King, those guys up 5 spots already into top 10 positions. But now for them, you got to pace yourself. 7 laps in, you're up 5 spots. did you burn it off? We won't see it yet, but did you burn up your equipment too early?
James Viney.
Yes, sir. Some update on info on stuff. I was talking with Jeff and those guys earlier, and they ended up having to scrap their set and build a new one, and so they didn't have a lot of time to work on it. But they were getting about 28 laps on fuel, and we'll let you know about that. And then they went down and talked to Frank Harris there, and he was pretty happy with the truck, but he thinks it might be getting a little bit too loose. Possibly, might have to do a tire pressure change. And on this track, especially with that diamond grind they do, it's got those really interesting grooves, and it'll just shred the tires. And so I'm expecting to see some fall off here real soon.
Thank you for that update. Again, James Vining on pit road, giving us some of the inside information on what's going on with these drivers as they work their way around Indianapolis. We're about to be on lap number 10 here in a couple of more laps. We're on lap number 8. As Kevin Smith is the leader. Dan West Jr., Toby Ritters. Look at now. Devin West now battle with Stephen O'Hare. For a moment, they were going side by side. And we got contact. Trouble in the back. Sean Breitzman, Dan Lowther. They get together. Lowther spins. He's in the fence. Ron Hunter bonsais to the bottom to clear. Debris scattered to the back straight away. And the first caution flag of the night here at Indianapolis. Well, I just caught a glimpse of it as they worked off the back stretch there, Alex Robinson. And look at the hard hit. Sean Breitzman getting into Lowther. Wow, Ron Hunter, what a save he made to not hit the 63 spinning off the back stretch, or spinning onto the back stretch, I meant. And there's your first caution of the race here, 10 laps into it.
Now, Wesley, now it's, actually, I'm at a loss of words. 10 laps in, do you top off on fuel?
Well, let's check in with, no, he's already hard at work. Looks like he's trying to find some stories. So I was going to say we'll check in with Vining and get his thoughts here in just a second, but he is already roaming. In my opinion, 10 laps into this race, no, I think it's too early to pit. Unless you're outside the top 10. But they might prove me wrong. We'll find out here. Are they committing to come to pit road?
Looks like.
Yes, they
your top
are,
3.
except for Ryan Bloom.
4 out of your top 5.
Everyone else besides.
So 4 out of the top 5 went into
yeah.
pit. I wouldn't take tires. Now, again, Wesley, they just proved us wrong of how many guys just pitted. But coming from spotting in these trucks, I wouldn't burn a set of tires if I don't need to. But it looks like we're taking tires, Wesley.
Yeah, pit stops are underway. Let's check in now with James Vining. They're on front of you on pit road, James.
Yeah, I just got back from talking with the Win Racing guys, and they didn't want to tell me any secrets of what Kevin's doing, but man, that guy's fast. And it looks like the other 2 guys are doing pretty good too. As far as went down to aerokinetics there, and both Frank and oh dang it, Grande. I couldn't think of his name for a second. Both Frank and Grande are having a problem with the truck being way too tight and have to slow down way too much in the corners. So hopefully they can, follow what I told them earlier last night, and maybe they'll get their speed back.
All right, thanks for that. I don't go anywhere, James. I got to ask you, do you think it's too early for them to pit this early on lap 10 of an 80-lap race? What do you think?
No, not with the tire wear. The tire wear on here is just incredible, and I would say that just as long as you keep an eye on how many tire sets you got. I don't really know how many they got, because you're still going to need some, you know, you can't go more than 30 laps. So you definitely don't want to go more than 30 laps on a tire side. Even if you could get fuel, you do not want to stay out on old tires.
But Ryan Bloom did not pit. Is he a sitting duck?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that. I wouldn't have tried that for sure, but he might know something different because they did a lot of practicing here with this. So not only did Toby run with us, but I guess these guys, they were as teams were doing some other practicing too. So maybe he knows something.
All right, thanks very much. There's James Vining with another pit report. The Northwest Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV here tonight at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course.
Also, Wesley, so your top 3 on this restart did not pit, but Jeff Stabnow also won the race off pit road.
Yeah. We'll see what his strategy will be as we'll settle back in here for a restart here tonight. By the way, to answer the question for the Indianapolis race that James Vining was referring to, one fast repair for these drivers. It's 3 sets of tires and the tires that you are racing on. So there you go. With that said, field has got doubled up behind the pace car. We're ready to bring them back to green here at the Indianapolis Raceway here tonight. Already 12 laps into this thing when they come back to the line. It is Ryan Bloom not pitting when everyone else did. Chris White will take advantage of this now and move to second. Frank Harris is third. Jeff Stabnow, as we mentioned, has got the top 5 and 4th. Oh, yeah, go for that angle. From the yard of bricks, the pace car onto the pit lane. Here they come. Feel the roar from Indy. Just like that, Alex. That's how fast 20 trucks go flying by across the yard of bricks. And we got trouble. Contact! O'Hare gets into Stabnow. Stabnow tags his teammate Brightsman. And we got trouble on the restart. Caution out again. Number 2 of the night. Man. I believe that's Roy Grande, one of the drivers that James Vining was referring about. Let's go topside aerial coverage as always. Presented by LSRTV. Look at O'Hare in the flat. Got into Stabnow. Stabnow got into his teammate. Brightsman got slammed into by Roy Grande. And the flock of seagulls even flew by. Well, Alex, that's definitely not what you want to have happen here in the early going, my friend.
Mr. Outland, I feel like I got to tell you already, you were right. You got to make it to the final 20 laps to compete for a win tonight.
Yeah, and the sad reality is now you got guys like Dan Lowther, who got crashed in the first caution. He's used a fast repair. Jeff Stabnow, I don't know if he'll use a fast repair or not, but he might go on the damage clock. Sean Brightsman, I don't know if, Cody, you can find Sean Brightsman in the 46 and see where he's located at. There he is, fast repair, brand new truck, had no choice. Definitely calamity early, and some trucks are still on pit road. Let's check in real quickly. James Vining on pit road. And he just left. I believe he's getting a story for us. All right, thank you. He was just in the box, and then he left.
As Wesley, I will say, just from our view in the booth, that was a pretty quick stop for Jeff Stabnow. So I'm not sure if there wasn't as much damage as we expected, but you see a lot of cars hitting pit road again, and one of them is not Ryan Bloom. So Ryan Bloom stays out yet again. And now he will be the only car not to hit pit road. And Some of these guys are taking tires, and I'm not sure if they took tires the first time around because we didn't even go a single green flag lap here. So it's going to be interesting to see if some of those guys even plan to take tires or not.
James Viney, a lot of activity in front of you on pit road, including Jeff Stabnow in 24.
Yes, that's it. I was just down there talking to him. Yeah, he had quite a bit of damage. He had to end up using this fast repair. Sean wasn't sure. He was debating on it, but yeah, he said that didn't feel very good, not at all.
Yeah, that's a tough break there for that driver right now of Jeff Stabnow, and a driver, by the way, that's had success in Indianapolis in the past. Just tonight, not what you want to have happen here in the early going. We're under caution. We're going to step away. We'll take a quick break. We're also at the top of the hour. We'll pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. The Northwest Truck Series, presented by CLICKIT RV from Indianapolis on CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Indianapolis, and again, James Vining on pit road. Alex Robinson, who usually is a dirt guy. I just want to kind of emphasize on that. He is joining me in the booth. Cody Demers is our director, producer. I'm Wesley Outland, and Justin Prince not feeling well, man. A friend of the North in Canada celebrated a birthday over the weekend, and I think he's a little bit under the weather. Might have partied a little too hard for his birthday. No, I don't know that, but I do want to say, I hope he feels better. We have him back in the booth with us soon. It is ready for the restart. Alex, believe it or not, bud, we're about to be 1/4 of the way of this race here at Indy. 50 miles in, buddy.
1/4 of the way in. 2 pit stops already, 2 cautions. Now it's just a matter of the waiting game with Ryan Bloom taking us back to the green flag. Still no pit for Ryan Bloom. 16 laps in. And here we go back to the green flag. And Ryan Bloom, again, is going to be the story now for the next few laps, Wesley, because who knows what's going to happen on this car again. Everyone else has taken tires, it looks like, and everyone else has topped off on fuel. The 25 might be a sitting duck if he wasn't the first restart.
Gotta remember. Right now, you got to remember this as they get work on the back stretch again. And, boy, they're quickly right back to the whip. You get 3 sets of tires plus the set that you have on your truck at the drop of the green. So with that being said, we've already seen a lot of guys pit twice. You better conserve tire wear. And I'll be impressed. I'm telling you, Alex, I can't believe the launch and the lead and the distance Ryan Bloom, who has not pitted yet, has on old tires of everybody else as they go to 1.
Yeah, he's leading the way right now, and he's leading it by a good margin. But he might have pressure coming on him very quickly. Smith, West, Tidrick, Toby Ritters. Remember, Ritters started up on the front row of this one, as there's a few cars out of sorts there, Wesley.
Watching all of this go on now as they work their way off the short chute, off the backstretch, in the short chute, into 3, another short chute coming off of turn number 4, back to start finish. Look at Ritters on the inside right now battling with Chris White. Tidrick for that spot. All this happening now is we'll send it off into turn number 1. Tidrick's got a couple of wins on the series. It's been a while since he won. Back in 2020, he won at Darlington and Las Vegas. But since then, been a long drought for the 72, and the Miller High Life machine just shot up the track, got up to the safer barrier, and that opens the door, Alex, for White and Ritters to clear him going into 3.
Yeah. Ritters, remember, again, we said started on the front row, dropped back a few positions there. Again, not a quick pit stop for him as well, but he's sitting in the 5th spot. West in 7th right now. Sean Breitzman, remember, got contact earlier. He's sitting in the 10th spot, just stabbed now in 9th with that quick repair on his car. So those 2 cars made their way back into the top 10 very quickly as the laps start to wind down from that restart. And again, now we're getting into what would have been close to that fuel window, but it is only going to be for Ryan Bloom, because Ryan Bloom, again, the only car not to pit, and you see fresh tires starting to kick in for your race leader of Kevin Smith, Dan West Jr., and now Chris White also closing in on your 3rd spot driver of Ryan Bloom, who is still on those opening lap tires. So 20 lap tires for him compared to everyone else's who might be, 5 to 10 lap difference.
Watching Stab now, a little wiggle there for a moment. Has West behind him, Breitzman in tow as well. This is the West family up there, 7th, 8th, and 9th. You see Breitzman bump drafting. West giving him a push all the way up the track into turn number 1 goes Breitzman. Hold on to it, out of the groove, and he's got to really get on the binders now, as here comes now Stab now going after Tidrick for 6th off of 2.
Tidrick in the 6th spot. Stab now. Breitzman, West, Fletcher, that is your spots. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th right now. But again, you talk about Ryan Bloom. He's back to 4th now. And Ritter, Stab now, Tidrick, Breitzman, they're all closing in on that 4th spot. And you see the pack side by side, 2 by 2 they will go. And Wesley, I don't really know where the fast line. It looks like the bottom is the fastest way around the racetrack. But that's still up for grabs here, because it all depends how quickly it's burning tires, how their setups are, especially because you remember our pit reporter said it earlier for Stab now and Breitzman. They scrapped that setup, had to change the whole setup of the car, so it might affect how they drive later in this race.
And speaking of another update on pit road, let's go back down to James.
Yes, earlier I was talking with Frank, and on that pit, he didn't pit the first time. When he did pit the second time, he only had 8% wear, so I was not too worried about Bloom taking off. But I think the rest of the guys with newer tires right now, Bloom may have burnt his up a little bit more than he was expecting on that takeoff, because he launched out of there and was going pretty fast. But yeah, that's what's going on for so far, anyways.
All right, thank you again, James, getting us some of the info on Bloom. And by the way, now Bloom falling back to 5th. And we figured it was going to happen eventually. They're talking about the new tires and the old tires, and even the handling for that matter, as we watch Devin West clear by Fletcher. Tidrick after the 28 now as they work off the short chute into turn number 2. About to hit the back straightaway, and Kevin Smith up in front. Obviously, Tidrick, Daggett a little loose there as they worked off of that second turn. That's been the trouble spot, Alex, so far in the opening 20 laps of this race.
And just to give you a little reference here, so Kevin Smith on that last time by before he hits the ticker this time, 53.0 for him compared to Dan West Jr., 53.3. So you see where that half-second gap is really kicking in when he is running, 0.3 quicker than the rest of the field. As this time, so now we're still running 53.8, 53.7. So Dan West Jr. ran a faster lap that time. again, it all shows of where they need to be on this racetrack. And right now,
Oh, trouble. No. Oh, no. Harris, Tedrick, crash in the short chute. Yellow out again for the third time. That's another 811 call before you dig. Caution summary coming up. And my, what a hit on the 11 of Harris in the fence. Wow. Let's go on board with the 11 of Harris after we look from another angle. Hit the left rear. My. Alex, that's a right rear shot. You don't do that. You don't hit the right rear. And that's exactly what Tedrick did to Harris. Watch this on board. Oh, wow. Boy. Your thoughts?
again, it's getting a little dicey early on in this race, Wesley. Not even, we're not even halfway through this race. 3 cautions already, and it's getting a little dicey. I think guys are trying to still find out. As I'm intrigued to know what the track temperature is, because that might show.
Let's do it. Let's put up the Kaufman creative weather conditions right now, and there you see it. We normally show this quickly when we came on the air, but we were just so far of going right on track with qualifying, we totally forgot it. But there it is, Kaufman creative weather conditions, Alex. 80 degrees air temp sim. Wind speed, it's up there, 10 miles per hour. Climbing to 11 or 12 right now. So the wind is really fighting these trucks, especially downforce on the backstretch. They're fighting the wind from the front. And track temp just climbed, if you will, Alex, 110 to 117 in the time frame that me and you looked at this graphic. It's already got track temp up to 117, and everybody's coming back down to pit road with the exception of White and I believe Devin West, Toby Ritters is the ones that didn't pit. James, they're coming in front of you. Another pit stop.
Yes, I was just down there talking with Frank. He's going to end up having to use his fast repair on that one. I just seen the temps. It went up 7 degrees. That's going to change. Oh my gosh, it's going to change a lot. We were running and for like 101, and then at 110, the truck got really, really bad loose. So if it keeps climbing, they're going. Anybody that has a good setup now is going to get real loose. Anybody that's really tight will probably have the good setup.
And as another driver like yourself as well, James, the cloud cover and the sun and the clouds is also affecting the handling and the rising climbing track temperatures and then the dropping of it as well.
Well, yeah, and then the way it does it so randomly. So if one corner is in the sun and you're good there, but the other corner is in the shade, or vice versa, you get in the shade, you're good in the corner, all of a sudden there's sun in the next corner and you're not expecting it, you could get in big trouble. When it changes like that so drastically, it's really hard to make a setup that can, vary that much.
Thank you, James. All right, so there you see it. What just happened? Frank Harris again, right rear shot. I'll be honest with you, Alex. It reminded me of the Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin crash that happened at Charlotte at the 600, or Bubba Wallace and the Kyle Larson wreck there.
Wesley, interesting thing going on as well. Some of these guys took tires again, and hopefully our pit reporter's still there. James, what is the mindset going on when these guys are taking either their first or second full set of tires now, and we're only 26, 27 laps into this race?
Yeah, to take your second set would that I don't know what they've only got the tires they started with and then 3 extra sets. So if they've already used up 2, that leaves you with 2, and that's 653 laps. Whew, I don't know. I really don't know what they're thinking, to be honest. I wouldn't have done it.
I will say this as well, elaborate that with the lights off on the pace car. We'll come back to a restart next time around. as we're about 80 miles into this race so far already, 75, 80 miles, there has been a lot more cautions than what I had anticipated. I figured, first 150 miles, green flag cautions, green flag pit stops is what I meant to say. But that's not the case. Let's take real quickly a look at the Virginia811.com call before you dig caution summary. And there it is right there. 3 cautions in 26 laps, 7 laps under caution. So 20 laps have been under green. And lead changes have been 3. A couple of them happened by pit stops. So again, a different strategy race, Alex, and we are preparing for than I think what we had actually talked about. If you remember when we were on the in our pre-race meeting this evening.
Yeah, Wesley, again, for some reason, most of the stuff that you've said in this pre-race meeting, I can say you're right because it's proven now, time and time. We make the joke that you're the father, and well, you're showing your kid how it's done here.
Well, we're back for the restart. I like that flag stand shot, by the way. Here we go. From the start-finish line. Maybe next time by. All right, let's go back to green. Here they come. Oh, they had already passed the start-finish line. What are you doing, Cody? What are you doing, Kevin Smith? Oh, wow. Kevin Smith almost got into the driver's side of Ritter's. And boy, oh boy, I'll be honest with you. James, they're fighting the wind. Am I right?
Yeah, there. He's just fighting because of track temp because that's twice I've seen him almost running the Ritters. It kind of shocked me.
And those are his teammates. And now Stabnow. Look at Jeff Stabnow right back in the gunfight again. Had to take a fast repair. So obviously you're going to race different than if you knew you have a fast repair like an ace in the hole. Right now, Chris White, who has won at Indy. There you go, Cody. Now you're caught back up. Chris White has won at Indy before, but it's been a while. Well, look at this. Hold on, Kevin Smith. Boy, oh boy, there you go. That was some dirt tracking for you, Alex.
Oh, yeah, but Wesley, the interesting thing is that was after the fastest, after he was running some decent times there. But you look at some of these times. Now remember, we started off in the 53s. Now we're down to 55, 56 second times here. So remember, as this track heats up, tire wear becoming a thing, we've seen how these cars can change in a matter of a few seconds. But talk about, like you said, Jeff Stabnow, Sean Brightsman, 2 cars that were involved in pretty much chaos in the first few laps of this one are back up, closing in on the top 5. Actually, Sean Brightsman up 12 spots into the 5th spot. Jeff Stabnow in the 7th spot right now as Devin West just got by the 24 there. And you see how they're battling it out as there you see West, Brightsman, Stabnow. They're going at it for that 5th spot right now, held by the 5 of Devin West.
Fastest truck also back outside the top 10 and 11th. Heading sideways, and he's about to turn in front of Lowther. Kevin Smith losing the handle again, somehow saves it, not 2, but 3 times. Let's go down to pit road to get an update and check in what's going on with Kevin Smith with James Vining.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, you're good when it's not so hot. It gets hot. They change it. The handling changes so much it's hard to even explain it. But 2.5 second fall off is what we're seeing when the track was cooler than this. So I'll bet you a full fuel run of 30. If they do a full one, we're going to see probably 3 second fall off, I would imagine.
We're about 77 miles now into this first 100 miles of this race. 1.25 or less remain. Hey, by the way, James Vining, stand by. Our producer, Cody Deemers, has a question for you. Listen up.
Hey, James, I just, am curious, does the draft here, I know a lot of people talk about draft, does it hurt you here or does it help you here?
Oh, it definitely helps you on the straight. But in the corners, you need to get either a little bit far to the right of them, not to the left, because if you get to the left, you're in dirty air still. Excuse me, backwards. when you get to the left of them a little bit, you get that cleaner on the left nose, because on the right side, you're going to be in dirty air and can put you right in the wall. But on the straights, you definitely want to be in the draft.
All right. Closing in on 78 miles into this race right now, as 32 of 100 miles in 8 laps will be complete. First half of the race. So far, it has been highly entertaining. Caution field. It's only the wind, and they're fighting it like crazy, Alex, and it's making these trucks disturbed as we go 3 wide. Stab now, the man in the middle. Lowther trying to thread the needle as they go to 3, and he couldn't do it.
You see here, Jeff Stab now trying to hold it, but Stab now. You get, like you were saying, the wind, everything playing dividends right now to some of these cars. Tidrick in the 9th spot, Stab now, Daggett, Lowther, Fletcher. Those guys still trying to work their way up. Wesley, as you can see, some of these guys are getting a little more patient now because this track keeps changing.
Lap number 40 will be halfway. We're on lap number 32, about 85 miles into this run. And again, cautions in the first half of this race have really surprised me. I wasn't expecting that, because right now we watch these guys again work their way off the back stretch, the short chute, approaching between 3 and 4. Daggett on the inside. The One Fine Studios entry pulls up in front of Stab now. Fletcher, Lowther side by side. This works off of 4.
Side by side they were going there, as Wesley, again, your race leader is Ryan Bloom here. Bloom, who is one of the only guys to only pit once. Chris White pit once as well. Those two sitting 1 and 2. Devin West, Toby Ritters. Devin West has pitted twice, Toby Ritters once. But then you look at 3 pit stops for Breitzman and as well for O'Hare. But again, Breitzman had some damage on that car. So, as there it is right there on your screen, King pits 5 times. So again, pit stops, there's a lot of pit stops for some of these cars. And like we said, you know, if they accidentally take tires where they don't need to, this might turn into a battle of saving your tires and hoping that you don't need to use that last set before somebody else does.
Run straight away back into turn number 1. And look who's back up in front again. Ryan Bloom just got around Chris White for that top spot, and he has checked out as well. Bloom and White both are. See the interval now, almost 3 seconds back between Bloom to Ritters, and we got another caution. Yellow flag is flying again. Another caution comes out, 4th one of the first 100 miles here, and we are looking to find where it happened. I want to say Stephen Paulison is one of the drivers involved, maybe Roy Grande, maybe it's Aerokinetics. And no, it's Kevin Smith in front of these drivers. And there's a, you know, Alex, 2 or 3 times it was bound to happen for Kevin Smith, because that truck has just been wicked in trouble. Right here, 0-0. Drifts up in front of Fletcher. Fletcher tags the left rear. Fletcher got into Smith. I stand corrected. And that's why we go under the yellow flag. Thank you. Good work by Cody Demers to find out what happened. Well, Alex, do you pit and go for that 3rd set, or do you kind of hold off a little bit?
If you pit, I'd say pit for fuel. I would not touch my tires. Well, unless you have, you know, unless you took only 1 set and you still have 2 sets sitting there, then maybe. If you're down to that 1 set, I wouldn't touch them. I would, you know, I'm not thinking about touching those tires till 20 laps to go, 15 laps to go, and that's still pushing them to the limit. And Wesley, I'm intrigued to know what our pit reporter thinks.
We'll find out as the field comes down pit road. Chris White, Devin West is going to fake it. So does Brightsman. So does O'Hare. Everyone else behind the top 10, as well as Chris White. James Vining, down to you on pit road.
Yeah, so I got a couple of teams that are busy right now talking to each other about strategy, so I kind of got booted out of there. But a lot of these drivers, a lot of them that pitted multiple times, getting like maybe a little bit of damage repaired without having to use a fast repair, but not taking tires. So that's, I don't know, I can't get information on right now because they're busy on who got tires and how many are left. But I'll bet you anything that like Brightsman and those guys came down a lot, he probably didn't change tires maybe once.
Fletcher beating White off pit road. There goes Ritters will follow. West Jr., Stabnow, Johnson, Smith, Aerokinetics of Paulson and Grande. They exit off pit road there. Well, about to approach halfway here in another 4 laps, actually. Another caution flag out on the speedway. 90 miles into this race. And again, this opening 90 miles, Alex, has been chaotic. I did not expect this race to be the way that it has been.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have expected this, especially out of the first 30-some laps. But again, Wesley, now the main thing is you talk about, like we saw it all throughout pit road. That's Frank Harris back on pit road, actually. So Frank Harris pulling back on pit road, I guess, trying to get some more damages fixed before we come back to the green flag. But we got to keep talking about it. Our race leader, Ryan Bloom, only one pit stop. And I see that our pit reporter has the mic in hand. And I want to know if you heard anything, what is the mindset going through Ryan Bloom right now with only going to the pits once throughout this race?
That's who I was in the pits with, and they were doing some strategy and throwing out some adjustments. So he must be liking his truck. But on the other side of this, talking about changing tires and whatnot, I verified with Sean. Yeah, he didn't change tires all the time he's in the pits, and the other ones that had the high pit rates, a couple times they came in just for some minor damage repair, but did not take tires either. So they're all doing pretty good for tires remaining.
Stephen Paulson working back off of the pit lane. He'll join everybody in the tail. And we'll get ready to go back for the restart here. A couple of laps away to halfway here in this 200-miler, 80-lap event at the virtual greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway here, round number 18 tonight. Looking in the points, Dennis Moore, not present, by the way, is the points leader, 24 points over Ryan Bloom. Dan West Jr., 47 points back on Moore. Devin West, 92 points back. 93 points back. Brightsman, 97 points back. Ritters, 98 points back. Stabnow. So, yes, 100 points separating the top 8 in the run to the championship, or the run to the playoffs, actually. And I'll be honest, as we get ready to go back to the restart, the Geico restart zone and get ready to go back to green, Alex, this is that final push to make it into the playoffs if you've not done it, because you've got Indy, Canadian Tire next week, Chicagoland, and Talladega. As we go back to green, the final 4 races before the run to the playoffs.
And you said Canadian Tire is one of those tracks, as we are back to the green flag. Canadian Tire is one of those tracks where if you're not a road course fan, that could be a driver's downfall chasing this playoff and the championship. And we've seen it even in the Cup Series and everywhere else. If you struggle at road courses, that could be the downfall of your chances for a championship. But right now, Ryan Bloom, Devin West, Stephen O'Hare, Sean Breitzman, and BJ Tidrick is your top 5 going on right now as we're about to hit the halfway point in this race. And Wesley, we've said it now, if once we hit lap 40 more laps to go, what we've said, get to lap 20. Get to that 20 lap to go. So get basically to lap number 60, and then it's time to start pushing a little bit more with 20 laps to go. That's when you should start making the decisions. What do you want to do? But you see right now, some of these drivers are biding their time as you see they're getting tight yet again into the corners. So it's going to be one of those, keep an eye on everyone. Ryan Bloom, though, out in front by over a half second still over Devin West, and Ryan Bloom with old tires.
And you see Dan West Jr. down to the bottom of the racetrack, hooked up there in a tandem with Chris Wine, and then they finally get back up under the groove as they work their way off the short chute between 3 and 4. Here they come storming off of that 4th turn, funneling down the front straightaway to the yard of bricks. Cross flags will go in the air. 100 miles down, 100 miles to go, 40 laps remaining. Massive cloud cover on the back stretch, James Vining. Sun on the front stretch. What is that doing to these trucks? As we've also got an update on Ryan Bloom.
Yeah, first, what that's going to do the truck is it's going to be decent or tight where the track's cool in the shade, but in the sun it's going to be loose. It's going to be loose as can be. Now, as far as Ryan Bloom goes, they were practicing and did some major practicing at this temperature, and so he's very confident in his truck, and that's why he went ahead and stayed out. He's real comfortable with it, and it's handling just like he wanted it to.
All right. Thank you very much. Halfway through in this race. Look at this. We got a win. LSRTV battle going at it here with Breitzman. Trying to clear by Ritters and Bloom. Or Stab now actually in Ritters in that mix. Open the door, clear a path. Here comes Ritters on the inside. Boy, oh boy. It's getting frantic even before halfway, after halfway, Alex.
Yeah, and James, I'll go back to you real quick. We talked about it during the pre-race. Some of these drivers, 2 different practice sessions and 2 different days. One where track temp was where it was today. Another one where it was a little bit cooler. So do you think those drivers that have ran 2 track temps on 2 different things, do they have the advantage going into the late stages of this race?
Oh, absolutely. First off, they would have known the difference between the cooler one and the hotter temp, so they would have known this track started out a little hotter, and they could have planned for it, knowing that it's just going to keep getting hotter, and made their adjustments tight to begin with. That way it'll work into being perfect the longer it runs and the hotter it gets.
Wesley,
all right.
We're getting to that point. It's late stages here. Ryan Bloom still your race leader, and pretty much it's been him throughout this race besides maybe one little hiccup when he didn't pit that first time. But ever since then, he hasn't looked back. It's over a second lead yet again over Devin West. Devin West up 8 spots into that second spot. BJ Tidrick up 6 spots as now he gets passed by Chris White for that 3rd spot. So Christopher White up 11 spots into 3rd. And BJ Tidrick holding on to 4th while Stephen O'Hare holds on to that 5th spot right now. But talk about the guys. These guys that started further back in the field had to work a little bit, had to bide their time, but now they're up in the top 5. As we're closing in here, it's that second half of the race where these guys now, it's their time to shine. But we're in the 54-second time. So their quickest times of the day was 53. Now we're back to the 54s. And Christopher White actually just ran a 53-second time. So this racetrack's still kind of where it was, but just a hair slower still.
Yeah, and right now watching them work their way on the back stretch, and I tell you what, Alex, it's kind of everything's kind of brakes, dude. What the fuck,
Nope.
man?
Can you hear me?
No, hang on a minute. Let's go down to pit road and James Vining. What do you got?
Yes. Okay. So back to what he's talking about for the pit stop there. So we got 33 to go coming up. I'd split it in half if it was me, because at 30 is your maximum fuel, but your tire wear here is so drastic that I would go with like, would that be 15 to go, maybe 16 to go, pit somewhere in that area. Unless the leader pits, and of course then you want to come in right after they do. You don't want to let them get any more lead than they got.
By the way, I believe that my expletive of not having sound went out over the broadcast. I do apologize for our audience. I do apologize for that. Just a little frustrated there. 47 of 80 laps says again. We need to take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill.
At CLICKIT RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Chance to reset, and we will go to the final 30 laps of this event with 30 laps to go. Ryan Bloom is the leader. Chris White is in that second spot. Ryan Bloom, they continue to flip-flop for those positions. All of this having to go on Kevin Smith, Ryan Bloom, Dan West Jr., Toby Ritters is your top five. I want to say I do apologize for my language. I thought we were off air. I thought the mics were still out because they were, and then it came out. So I do want to say that's me. I apologize. I'm sorry. Anyhow, 50 laps to go, or Ian, 30 laps to go, and Alex Robinson. This race has just totally not been anything that we had intended to see. As right now, Chris White is the driver back up in front. I mentioned earlier that he's won on this series before and on this track before, and he is right now showing his strengths. I think between obviously Chris White and Ryan Bloom, those are your two strongest trucks of the pack so far with 30 to go.
Yeah, and to think, we keep talking about it because of how this racetrack is and how it burns tires and stuff. Ryan Bloom is one of the guys who hasn't taken any tires since when the last time he pitted was lap 25. So Wesley, lap 25, we are now in the lap 50, 51 range, and he still hasn't pitted since then. You got to think, when that 25 truck goes to pit road, everyone's going to have their head on a swivel of where he's coming from, because that 25 has two sets of tires left. He could go in and pit when everyone else does on the green flag, but then he could go in if we have 15 laps left and another caution comes out. He could go get that fresh set of tires and change this ball game and change this whole race in a matter of a few blinks, because he saved his tires, saved everything, and he's still up front.
52 of 80 laps. And James Vining, let's go down to you for a pit report. The money stop, when is it going to happen here as we are under 30 to go at Indianapolis, buddy?
I was figuring unless the leader pits, it would be 15 to go. That would be the number I think would be.
All right. So I'm thinking, as we mentioned, with about 20 laps to go. Again, my strategy was when we came on the air talking about this race, Alex, was that about lap 60, 65. That's when you start to pull the aggressive meter pegged over 100 and you start making a run to the front to try to win this race. But again, totally different race than what we've seen, and now we're seeing green flag pit stops, and this is also something different we've not seen tonight so far at Indianapolis. James Vining, we got trucks down in front of you.
Yeah, it looks like the two teammates, I think, of O'Hara and King, they must be doing that short pit to try to get some track position maybe, or get some. That's the only thing I can think why they do that.
Green flag pit stops. Go ahead, bud.
It's definitely doable though, because that's the 30 laps is a max. That's what, 26. So yeah, it's definitely doable.
I'm wondering, Alex Robinson, if they think we've had so much calamity in the first 45 laps of this race, maybe we don't have to worry about this anymore.
Yeah, but now you think you're going on a hot racetrack with cold tires, and if you try and be aggressive here very quickly with those cold tires, you could cause a spin out, and we'll have a caution. And if you think, for the guys that don't pit, it's going to play into their hands very quickly.
Pit stops ongoing now here as the field working their way again off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Look at how Kevin Smith sideways. Fastest truck of the race earlier. Fell all the way back into the top 10. Jeff Stabnow sizes him up. Let's get an update on Sean Brightsman now. Down to you, James.
Yeah, it looks like Sean is in the pitting. He is definitely one known to short pit. So I think O'Hara and King are on the same idea. Just Sean did it one lap later. But this will be interesting to see how this turns out. I've seen him win doing this.
Brett Johnson and BJ Tidrick getting work done. Here we go back down on the front straightaway as Fletcher, Smith, and Stabnow right now battle with one another. Play your cards right as we are thinking green flag pit stops could be on the horizon here with now 25 laps to go, and you see those tires, Alex, on Stabnow's right on the rear end of the truck. He is spinning them like crazy, and it's causing him to lose momentum as Fletcher just got by.
And you talk about one interesting name who just hit pit road, Ryan Bloom down pit road for only the second time this race. That 25 car is going to be one to keep an eye on now when he gets out of pit road. Tidrick and Dagger as well on pit road. Those three cars are the next ones to join here, as you think. As now your race leader, Christopher White, is pitting as well here. So the rounds of pit stops are coming and going very quickly, as now the question is who's going to be the next one to join the fray of pit stops. The person with the oldest equipment right now.
More updates on pit road, James Vining.
Yes, but just like I said, you've seen King come in, you've seen Sean come in, and then pretty soon, you're going to start seeing more people come in. And the ones that stay out because of the fall, how much fall off we have, they could be that could be the mistake of the race. Staying out too long, not pitting, and watching the guys that pit just eat you up because they're so much faster.
So we look at Fletcher and West now battling off into the corner. There's Ritters will follow behind him. And right now, we're watching this race come to an end. 25 laps to go when they cross the stripe here at the Yard of Bricks. This is pucker time now. The payout window opens. And honestly, this is the point of the race, Alex, where I really thought this is when you need to be aggressive. This is when you need to start making the run to the front. This whole strategy is now cattywampus. We had multiple quadruple cautions, 4 cautions in the opening first 100 miles, and now the second 100 miles have been fairly decent, And in addition to that, green flag pit stops, which is something we should have thought we would have had in the first half of the race.
Yeah, and I think here it comes, Wesley. We're getting to that point, just 3 laps away from where you said it's time to get down to business with 20 laps to go here. And it's Dan West Jr., Ritters, Stabnow, West, Kevin Smith, Brett Johnson. All cars yet to pit as actually Dan West Jr. now hits pit road.
Dan West Jr. on pit road right now. Any other takers? No. Let's go down to you, James.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Dan come in and not have Sean or Jeff come in with him there. But Dan might be thinking that what Sean did was just a few too many laps to stay fast. So now everything has been thrown totally cattywampus from what I was thinking, and I'm not even sure now who's the favorite.
I'm like you, James. My strategy of this race is completely perplexed, and we might see something else happen. I don't know, but I will tell you this, though, Alex Robinson, it doesn't matter. You get green flag pit stops. You cycle back around, yes, to whoever's back in front that leaded when the strategy goes around the pendulum for a whole lap. But with that being said, you also scatter everybody around the racetrack into like little bitty packs. There's more and more trucks around this 2.5 mile. If we had a track map that we could show you real quickly, if our producer Cody Deemers can show that real quickly on the broadcast, if he has it, a track map, you can literally see all of the trucks, all of the dots, all around the speedway, because we are watching green flag pit stops take place, and it is literally making everybody be separate from one another as we come to the line with 20 laps to go next time by here in Indianapolis in this race. Alex, back to one.
And the one thing that I like to watch because of pit strategy, but at the same point, at these racetracks, I don't like it, and that is a green flag pit stop, because like you said, it separates them. You see right now on your screen, the pack of 4. Brightsman in this pack of 4 as well. Tyler King, Stephen O'Hare, they're all in this pack of 4 right now. And you see there's a little bit of drafting going on in that pack of 4. But again, with a pack of 4, your race leader out in front by over a second. Your third place car.
And amongst that, Jeff Stabnow back in the lead, by the way. He is the new leader as we approach 20 laps to go. Alex, sorry to mean to cut you off, but he's pulling away also from Kevin Smith. And he hasn't pitted yet.
Your top 3 are the only cars not to pit in that green flag pit stop yet, and that is Stabnow, Smith, Paulson. So right now, what Jeff Stabnow, and I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, and we can go to the pit reporter as well for this one, I think Stabnow right now wants to build as big of a lead as possible before he goes down pit road so that he's not losing positions and that he can be right back in the game when he gets back out of the pits.
James, what are you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly his plan. I bet you anything, because that's the only way that that he's going to be able to get in there and get out, and stay in a pack. The draft is big here, as you see the 4 cars drafting together. You get somebody out by yourself that's not fast, and somebody else, the pack of 4, is going to catch you real easy.
So, as they work their way again down the front straightaway, this is Sean Brightsman, Dan West Jr., Stephen O'Hare, Tyler King, right there in a pack. That's what we told you. As right now, listen to the intervals, okay? Let's pull up let's take us off of the top grid and bring us up the intervals on the ticker from the top to bottom. Look at that, Alex. 1.5 seconds between the leader, Stabnow, the Smith. Stabnow, the Paulson is now 5.2 seconds. And then you've got Stabnow to White, 23 seconds. 31 seconds with his teammate Sean Brightsman in 6th compared to Stabnow, the leader. And all of this is going on with the last car on the last truck, on the lead lap, Frank Harris in 14th, 45 seconds to the leader.
And it is just, like you said, spread out, and it's going to show pit strategy here, but now you see 19 laps to go. And James, I'll ask you, what is the last amount of laps that these guys can pit here before throwing away their chances?
Oh, it's coming up. I'd say 5 laps from now. If you haven't pitted, you may have just made your grave and climb right into it.
And under 20 laps remaining now, 18 to go here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as this race, round number 18, about to wrap up here for the CLICKIT RV Northwest Truck Series program as Kevin Smith now the leader. Jeff Stabnow, James Vining, he's on pit road in front of you. The money stop for the 24 waits.
Yeah, he got as far out as he could, and then now he's pitting. So it'll be really interesting to see where he comes back out at. Because he may have waited a little too long. I don't know, because he's the only one by himself.
Stabnow on the pit lane. He has now fell 40 seconds behind the leader of Kevin Smith, as I have yet to see him say he's on pit exit. He is now back on the racetrack, correction, and he falls all the way to 13th position on the return road. And remember, Alex, there's that, you just don't storm back on the racetrack and hit the gas and go at it. You got to follow the blend line. You enter pit road and you follow the return road on the pit exit, and you have to go all the way between turn 1 and 2 and the short chute, all the way to the backstretch entrance before you see that blue cone, which is at the end of the return road on the blend line area. And once he passes that, or any one of them, then he's able to pick up speed and pull back onto the racetrack.
Yeah, and now again, everything plays into play here. And the real thing is, Jeff Stabnow, he's going to, actually, let's see. Smith and Paulson still have yet to pit. Now you're down to almost 15 laps to go. Those two cars yet to pit. Wesley, if this stays green, like James said, it's basically you dug your grave. Now you just might as well lay in it, because 15 laps, if you're under 15 laps to go and you're behind by 40 seconds and there's no caution, there's honestly no way of catching your top 5.
So my question is this. Obviously, Kevin Smith fell all the way at one time back into the 10th spot. He has rallied. He has climbed himself back in the proverbial ladder. I'm looking at stats and information now on Kevin Smith, and Kevin Smith has not won this year on the Northwest Truck Series presented by CLICKIT RV. Right now, for the driver of the number 00, as we watch now Tyler King go after Toby Ritters. Kevin Smith, no wins, 5 poles, 6 counting tonight, by the way, 3 top 5s, 7 top 10s. If you remember, sporadically with 15 to go, Alex, I know you wouldn't know, but James Vining, I know you will, as a driver earlier in the season yourself, Kevin Smith had all of those technical internet woes that kept sidelining him. He would have a strong truck, be in the lead, and then all of a sudden he'd disappear and crash. He's been working on that for probably the last 2 months, and since he has been a force to reckon with the rest of the Win Racing drivers for sure, James.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even when he was having the internet problems, he would, he'd get the pole, he'd be out leading by a ton, and all of a sudden, the internet would kick off on him, and then you're done.
But it's good to see Alex, at least him staying up in that top spot. 14 laps to go now. Ritters and the driver of O'Hare, best battle on the racetrack as that goes on down the front straightaway. King and Tidrick, 8th and 9th, working into the corner, into turn number 1 and 2. 14 laps remaining. By the way, you want to do the math? You're on lap number 70 or 64. 66, correction, I'm sorry. 66. And it's 165 miles of 200. And you got to remember, too, Alex, there is still a chance for overtime, 3 attempts at overtime if we get another wrath of cautions. but I really think things have simmered down. It is totally not the race that I thought we would have seen. I thought we would have seen clean up to 20 to go and then let the chaos happen. You got the bad out of the way, and I don't want to say it in a disrespectful term, but the drivers that might have been having problems, drivers that are having handling issues, drivers that were a part of accidents, they're in the back now, and you've got the best up in the front with Chris White now leading, as we just saw Kevin Smith, James Vining, just come to pit road for his money stop.
Yeah, and that's just that's got me really puzzled because I don't think he's going to be able to make it back to the front. I don't think there's enough laps. Though, if you look how far back Jeff is now, he's, half his distance he was? Or cut it in maybe a little more than half? So, and that's impressive, actually.
Alex, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I will. If there's ever a time that these guys like Stab Now or, Smith, O'Hare, King, some of these top guys need a caution, you need one now here as we approach 11 to go.
And we talk about pit strategy, and Wesley, I hate to say it, if Ryan Bloom, who is currently sitting in second, if he wins this race, it is all pit strategy for that 25, because we talked about it throughout. He only pitted once. We got to lap 50. He goes in for only his second stop of the night, and he's sitting in second after all the rounds of pit stops are done. Green flag pit stops, probably the final round of pit stops, are done for the night, and Ryan Bloom back in the second spot here. 2 seconds behind, but he's trying to slowly cut it. It was about a 3 to 4 second gap between him and race leader Christopher White. Now it's a 2 second gap, almost a 3 second gap, as White's still trying to pull away here. But Ryan Bloom, with 12 laps to go, still has a chance for the win.
All right, well, 10 laps remaining with White and Bloom. West, Preitzman, Ritters, top 5 coming in to 10 remaining when they come back to the line. Real quickly, let's pause for 10 seconds of radio identification. This is CRN, the Community Radio Network from Indianapolis. We take you to the checkered flag in just a moment.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Back in Indianapolis, and it is getting good in the neighborhood, and I don't mean Applebee's. It is 70, coming up on 60 laps completed to be the distance of this race, 80 laps. As you see, Daggett and Smith go at it, fighting for position. Waiting patiently is going to be also Paulison. These are drivers that are in the back. This is the best action on the racetrack, Alex Robinson, because to be honest with you, there really is nothing happening. The interval is still spread out with now Chris White leading the way. If we can show the 47, he is gone. Ryan Bloom is the closest driver, and he's still 3 seconds back to him as we come to 10 to go.
Remember that race lead, we keep touching it. White had it almost over a 3-4 second lead over Ryan Bloom. Now it's a 2.4 second lead with 9 laps to go. West is 6 seconds back. And you have Ritters with 13 seconds back from the race leader here. And Breitzman right there as you get it on your screen. Breitzman and Ritters, that's for the 4th and 5th spot right there. And here comes Breitzman trying to sneak to the inside. But remember, Breitzman had problems in this turn earlier in the night where he got collected in chaos with Jeff Stabnow. This time, Breitzman playing it a little bit more clean here and a little bit smarter as he is sitting in the top 5 spot. Wesley, you gotta think, do you push it yet here, or do you just try and hold out and hope and pray at least you get a top 5?
Well, I'll say it, and I'll say it again, and these guys need a caution. Where we needed a caution is this time of the race right now. I don't know if we're going to get it or not. You got everybody spread out. And honestly, everybody made their pit stops. They made their bed. They're going to lie in it. Am I right, James Vining, as a former driver, now on pit road? And we're still seeing guys come to pit road. Tyler King just veered onto pit road.
Yeah, he must be having some problems or something with that. Ryan Bloom he's catching him really fast. I was shocked to see that, but he pitted at the right time where everybody that pitted after that, it looks like, just pitted a little too late.
Can Bloom run down Chris White? That's the question. With 7 seconds to go. By the way, we're looking at information on the driver, Chris White. He's currently 9th in the points, 9th in the standings. Overall finishes, wins for the driver. Now, I'm going to say overall, this season, 1 top 5, 7 top 10s for Chris White. Best finish this season was at Dover, where he finished 5th for Chris White. Now, overall stats-wise on the driver, that is Chris White. Tonight is his 317th career start with the Northwest Series. He has won before at Indianapolis. Matter of fact, Alex, listen to this stat as we approach 7 to go. He has, in his win total column, okay, with his 15 career wins, 4 wins have come at Indianapolis. Last time he won was in the Cup car, September 20th, 2021. He has won before in the B Series. He has never, Alex, won at Indianapolis in the truck.
Indy avoiding him here and at 6th. We're closing in on 5 to go, but again, remember, we keep saying I'm gonna keep touching on it. Ryan Bloom keeps cutting into this lead. It was 3 seconds at lap 15, 2 seconds at lap 10. Now we're about a little bit over a second and a half. 5 laps to go. We've seen him cut a second off each 5 laps, but now the question is, did Ryan Bloom burn it up here? But again, we also got to think, did Chris White save enough energy and enough stuff in that truck after having that much of an advantage here? Does he have enough in the tank to get the job done?
Closing in on the final 20 miles here at Indy. Let's go back down to pit road. James Vining, what you got? 5 to go.
Yep, to answer that question that he was asking, I was just thinking about that, just talking to him. Yeah, Bloom, he's not gaining anymore. He's overdid it. He overcooked his tires, and he's not going to make it.
Or White is going to slip, and hey, there's lap traffic up ahead. Just going to, pardon the pun on that. It's going to have to take something to put that opportunity for Ryan Bloom to run down Chris White. As I mentioned, Chris White's success here before at Indianapolis in the Cup car, in the Xfinity B Series car. And by the way, speaking of Indianapolis, don't forget Wednesday, James Vining, real quickly, we can brag about your series, round number 3, the street course of Chicago with the Next Gen 4 car.
Yes, absolutely, and that is a blast. Even Rob was shocked, Rob Gamble, of how well that car sticks. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to run it, and you guys are going to have a blast broadcasting it.
Wednesday night, 11:15 Eastern Time. Coverage of iRacing on LSRTV and CRN from the Chicago Street Course Race. Looking forward to bringing it to you here. Final 10 miles as they approach 190 miles of 200 the distance here. And Alex, again, we are seeing White pick up the lap trucks, pick them up, put them down, and open up that interval. Still a second and a half on Ryan Bloom. Ryan Bloom's on Mayday mode. He's in the bottom of the racetrack trying to stay away from these lap trucks of King and Lowther. But with 3 remaining, man, White's in his own world right now. I know he's ready to put that Willie's Addictive Barbecue number 47 machine in victory lane. First win of the year. And by the way, first win in the trucks in Indianapolis.
Wesley, don't get ahead of yourself. He still has to run 2 more clean laps. Once he gets to this flag stand, he needs 2 more clean laps to secure the deal. Does he have a second and a half lead? Absolutely. But like we've said, anything can happen at this racetrack. We've seen it time and time again. You cannot count your chickens too early, or something might happen, and you never want to wish it on someone, but you never know what can happen in this sport of motorsports. Christopher White right now up 13 spots, and Wesley, talk about that for a second as well. Not only would he get the win, he would also be the hard charger of the night.
That's right. 2 to go and 5 miles remain. Yeah, hard charger up 13 spots. Only a driver up 12. Sean Brightsman in 5th. But right now, Christopher White got everything going for him perfectly. That Chevrolet hitting his marks into the corner. By the way, 2021 Northwest Cup Series champion to add to the tally of achievements for the man in his 317th career start for the Northwest Series tonight. And as he works his way off of turn number 4, keeps it off for the safer barrier, crossing to the yard of bricks. The white flag is in the air. One more lap to go from high above the flag stand. Here as he goes by the pagoda for the final time, Alex Robinson, Chris White into turn 1.
He has a 2.5 lead. He's going to take it into turn 2. That 2.5 lead looks good. The 47 of Christopher White. He's going to head down the backstretch one final time, and he's going to go into turn number 3. Wesley out in the 47, just 2 turns away from securing his first win in Indianapolis.
First win in a truck at Indianapolis. He is a 5-time winner at Indianapolis in a Cup car and an Xfinity car, but never in the trucks. The 2021 Cup Series champion will now make also the 10th different winner on the Series of the year, and he beat the man that's got the most of everybody with 5, Ryan Bloom. Chris White trying to save, coasting left, coasting right, wins here at Indianapolis. It is picking up his first win of the year, first win in a truck, 10th different winner, as I reiterated on. And Alex, this race totally was not the outcome of the finish that I thought it would be.
No, and again, you thought Ryan Bloom, heck, Dan West Jr., Toby Ritter, Sean Brightsman, Jeff Stabnow, any one of these guys would have had a chance, especially talking about Jeff Stabnow. He regroups after he was one of the last people to pit. He goes and finishes 6th on the field, so a good run for Jeff Stabnow after pitting late into that race. But Christopher White, pretty much the final 20 laps, like you said, that's where it was the money stop. He wins the money stop. He comes out, holds the spot, gets the race lead after the top 3 had to pit still, and did not look back and came out and dominated those final 20 laps.
Another honorable mention, obviously, Toby Ritter's finishing in 4th. I want to give props to him for that. You think of Brightsman and Stabnow with the problems they had earlier. What a comeback for Team LSRTV with Dan West Jr., obviously 3rd. We'll get their thoughts in a bit. Sean Brightsman and Jeff Stabnow 5th and 6th. Let's look at the results here as they are tearing them up on the front stretch with the Northwest high five salute. And they are all going after. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, move the graphic for a second. We want to see the destruction. Welcome to Victory Lane, Chris White. We'll send you off into parts unknown. All right, now let's go back to the graphic and give you the results. Here you go. Christopher White is the winner. Ryan Bloom is 2nd. Dan West Jr. 3rd. Toby Ritters, what a run for Toby. Clifford, solid top 5 in 4th. Josh Brightman 5th. Jeff Stabnow with his problems. Remember, so did Sean Brightsman. Come back, finish in the top 10. Kevin Smith, I think the strategy got him there. I think he pitted too early, looking for a green flag pit stop and then a caution. It just didn't happen that way for the 00. Stephen O'Hare. Stephen Paulison would have bounced back for Aerokinetics after problems earlier in the race. And Alex B.J. Tidrick, my friend, will finish in the top 10.
Yes, coming home in the 11th spot, it's Brett Johnson. Troy Daggett comes home in the 12th spot. Frank Harris in 13th. Devin West will come home in 14th. The final car on the lead lap. Tyler King will come home in 15th. Dan Lowther will come home in 16th. And then William Fletcher coming home in the 17th spot, 23 laps down. Roy Grande, we talked about the problems on that 18 car. He will come home in 18th. And then, of course, Chris Kynes, Ron Hunter did not start tonight's race. And also Carl Burke did not start tonight's racing action.
Final look at the Virginia811.com call before you dig. Caution summary. There it is. First 4 cautions in the 35 laps of the race. Totally not what I was expecting. Totally changed everything. Second 100 miles, caution free. 12 caution laps in total of the 80 laps distance. 68 under green. 10 lead changes. Coming up, it is our post-race wrap-up, and we will grab a word with the podium, including Dan West Jr., runner-up Ryan Bloom, and the winner to make now 10 different winners on the season of Season 10 of the Northwest Truck Series, Christopher White. Don't go anywhere. We're back in a moment. This is coverage of the Northwest Truck Series, presented by CLICKIT RV, iRacing on LSRTV, and CRN, the Community Radio Network.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back. I lost my partner, Wesley Outland, so I guess I will run through here in Victory Lane. So we will all start with our winner here tonight. And Christopher White, we talked about the success you've had in Xfinity cars. We also talked about the success you've had in Cup cars. But now to add a win in the Truck Series here at Indianapolis, can you just say that this track is your bread and butter?
Yeah, Indianapolis has been pretty darn good to me. I think it's my best track on, in the Northwest Racing League series, and finally got the trifecta, I guess you could call it, with a Xfinity B car win here, a Cup car win, and now finally got the truck win here. So it's pretty good. It's a good feeling.
And the money stop, it played pivotal. You pitted on lap 55. What was going through the mindset here? Were you just hoping that pit stop would play the crucial part there in pit strategy? We always talk about it. That pit strategy would play dividends, and it happened to just give you a 2-second, 3-second lead when the rest of the leaders went and pitted.
Well, I was kind of on that last stop there. I was kind of trying to decide when would be the best time to hit pit road, and some people making some green flag stops, and I was out in front of the 25 of Ryan Bloom, and I saw him in my rear view hit pit road, so I figured I'd have to come in the next lap or two. So just thought I needed to hit pit road, make no mistakes. I was able to do that, and I was able to get off of pit road just in the nick of time, just out in front of the 25. He had a big run coming off of turn 2, got red up on me, and I had to play a little defense there. I thought for sure that he would have stuck with me for a while and kind of battled for the top spot, but he kind of fell off. So I'm kind of wondering if he took tires on his last stop or not. But yeah, we were able to kind of pull away with it.
We usually grab the winner last. Alex didn't know that. I had to step away for just a minute to check in with Jeff Stab now. But we'll continue to go 1 through 3 down the line. Again, Chris, 10th different winner of the year. I know you've wanted to break through into victory lane. I know you've won at Indianapolis before when I was giving your stats on your 317th career start tonight in the series. But what does it mean to finally win in the trucks at Indy?
Like I was saying, it was Indianapolis is a really good track for me. I really like Indianapolis. Always do well here as long as I stay off the wall or out of each other and bring it home. I usually get a good finish. And having that win in the B car, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup car, this truck series is kind of bittersweet. So it kind of completes that trifecta, getting all three of them. So it's a good feeling. It's nice. And I can't wait to come back to Indy again and do it all over.
In closing, thank your sponsors, but hey, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, man, these truck races, the open set that we got going on here, it's tough, because there's so many things you can adjust on these trucks. Everything, bumper to bumper, you can change anything. So it's tough to compete with these guys that actually know how to fiddle with these setups and get them just right. And believe it or not, I kind of threw in an older Pocono set. Figuring, the long straightaways and whatnot. And look at that, kind of pulled off a good one. So, yeah, the CWR Chevy Silverado, awesome truck tonight. Willie's Addictive Barbecue on the truck. Man, Willie's a great guy, very energetic, outgoing. He'll sit there and chat you up while he's smoking some good barbecue. If you got any plans for or barbecue needs, please reach out, give him a call, see what he can do for you. Yeah, his number's 253-632-5303. Definitely got to thank you guys, LSRTV. Awesome job all year long. I've been waiting to say that. These podiums are hard to get these days. And definitely CLICKIT RV. Got to thank them for coming on board as well. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Well, the victory lane we go again. The driver of Chris White in victory lane. Let's go to the runner-up. And that's going to be the driver, of course, of Ryan Bloom. Most wins on the year, by the way, for Ryan Bloom. He might possibly have even stolen the point standings because Dennis Moore was absent. The 24-point lead might have shrunk, and it has. Ryan, you'll settle for second. 5 wins on the year, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and now you are only 4 points behind Dennis Moore. You're taking this race and the craziness that was Indianapolis, your take of finishing second.
Oh, yeah. It was strategy was all over the place, including myself. I was one of the few to stay out there in that first caution. Didn't know what was going to happen. It could really bite me or help me. So I benefited from some well-timed cautions there, for sure, which kind of put me in the right strategy towards the end. And this is not one of my better tracks. I don't know if it's I think maybe missed a little bit on the setup. It could just be me, myself and the driving. Just didn't have the short run speed tonight. I did take 4 tires there in the last stop. And I couldn't keep up with Chris. No, we were a little tight there to start the race, so we made some loosening adjustments, and I think I went a little bit too far on loosening up, and I was just kind of hanging on there towards the end. I did close the gap up a little bit. I think he was up close to 3 seconds, then just kind of stalled out about a little less than 2 seconds, and and then the rear tires were just starting to go on it. So no, congrats to Chris. That was a great job by him, and well run, great strategy, good truck. So, I'll take second. A little bittersweet being that close, but overall, good night. Good night for our team as well.
Alex. Alex Robinson, I guess he stepped away now. I'll say this, though, Ryan. You look at we're down to the final 4 races, counting now 3 after tonight. Do you feel like the intensity was as crazy it was in the first half of the Indy race tonight because it is down to this final month of racing, these final 4 weeks, and you got to get what you can get and maybe it was a little too early, but do you feel like we've pegged the limiter of seeing this type of racing to determine who's going to make these playoff spots? And does it make you drive different? It's segue because you're in the playoffs regardless of what happens.
I think that's possibly part of it. This time of year kind of ratchets it up towards this, getting towards the playoffs. People trying to get their way in, get as many points as they can. Just kind of, my third season now, and that's kind of normal what we see. So, I think the intensity is only going to pick up. As far as myself, having 5 wins definitely is nice to have in the bank. So, it allows me to take maybe some different strategies. Really, trying to get different off strategy from my other teammates. Hopefully, strategy is going to work out for them, and maybe they could snag a win or fall in place for them. But just didn't happen tonight. So, yeah, definitely, I think it can factor into kind of what I do, and really, trying to help my teammates as much as I can. With the 5 wins. But I'm like I said, I'm a competitive guy, and I want to go out there and get wins too. So. Just gotta kind of find the moments and the kind of how things fall in place during a race.
Sponsors.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys, LSRTV, for doing a great job. CLICKIT RV coming on board for sponsoring the series and also sponsoring the truck this year. It's been great having them on board. And just thanks to all the Northwest Racing Series admins and Jeff and Sean and all the others that put this on. So looking forward to next few races getting towards the playoffs.
Canadian Tire Motorsports Park on deck coming up in the road to the playoffs at the end of Labor Day. There's the thoughts of Ryan Bloom. 4 points now behind Dennis Moore. Second in the points for the driver with 5 wins on the season. Let's go to the third place man, Dan West Jr. Dan, a solid run for Team LSRTV. Some highs and lows to start this race at Indy. What's your synopsis of everything and being on the podium?
Yeah, as a team, I don't think we were a winning truck, if you will. I think we had something that was top 10. I felt like, I tried to just follow what everybody else is doing strategy wise, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to get up front there. So, like I say, we'll take that top 3 and move on.
Go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
It went in and went out. I don't know if you'd finished your sentence or whatnot. But what I was going to say, though, is for sure, this is not the type of Indianapolis that we've raced in days of old, was it?
No, it's not. And it kind of throws your strategy out the window. And you're kind of, when you have cautions that soon, you're really looking at your tires, right? I mean, you're looking over there, seeing how many sets of tires you have left. And you hate to not take tires on. So, you hate to not leave it in the bank. So I don't know. I think it all worked out. I felt like we could have been, caught with a late caution there with some guys that had tires left. So, like I say, I'm pretty fortunate too, and pretty happy to take the top 3.
Well, it certainly did, become interesting for sure. Again, got the yellow flags first 100 miles of the race, and then the second half things really changed, and we had those long green flag pit stops, and then the spreading out of everybody. I got to ask you this question. We'll segue this into thanking your sponsors, Dan. You are now right there with 1 win this year, obviously. Third in the points. You're comfortable. You know that you're going to the playoffs. You've got that 1 win this year at the Charlotte Oval back in May. Do you race differently now looking for more wins, or is there like a panic mode to try to help guys like Sean Brightsman or maybe Jeff Stabnow or Brett Johnson, somebody that's outside looking in that needs to get a win to possibly go to the playoffs? Preferably Jeff Stabnow, who's in 7th, but obviously if he gets himself a win, that secures him in the points.
Well, I think, as a team, you're always looking to help your teammates. I mean, that's kind of what makes it a team, right? But at the end of the day, you're still a racer that, I want to go out there, and I don't care how many wins that I might have or don't have. I want to win each race. So, If it's a situation where I can win, I'm gonna try to win. But if there's a situation where I can help my teammates, I'll help my teammates. So, yeah, I mean, it's I think Jeff should be in. I'm not sure about Devin or Sean for sure, but they should be in. So I think we're okay.
Sponsors, buddy, on the road course next week.
Yuck. I like to think Effective Web Solutions, LSRTV, and CLICKIT RV. I appreciate everything they do and everything you guys do up in the booth. Thank you.
There's Shelton, Washington, Dan West Jr. Go ahead, bud. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Chris on that win, man. That was a good drive. He did a hell of a job behind the wheel and had a good truck, and great job, man.
Dan West Jr. again will pick up third place. Again, second place, Ryan Bloom. The winner is 10th winner differently of the season. And finally, a winner in the trucks at Indy, the driver of Chris White. Let's go down to the pit lane to our CLICKIT RV pit reporter, James Vining, from driver to on the mic. Your final take of this race. Great job tonight getting those stories in the pits.
Well, thank you. Yeah, my take is it threw me off. I wasn't expecting anything to happen. The strategies, that threw me off too. But Chris did an awesome job of just being there when it needed to be, figuring out when he needed to pitting at the exact right time. And like I said with Ryan there, he got up to him, but he just couldn't get any closer, and so he wasn't going to be able to catch him. So, yeah, congrats to Chris. He did a great job.
Alex Robinson, your final take of tonight's race in Indianapolis, and I think we could probably follow the same synopsis that our pit reporter did.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It was a good race. I'll say that, especially coming from not being able to, call this racetrack, and who knows how long. I didn't know what to expect. It's a different racetrack, but again, pit strategy, I always love watching pit strategies and how it plays out, especially green flag pit stops near the end of the race. That money stop comes in, and Wesley, I will tell you again, you were right. The final 20 laps played the pivotal part of who won that race.
They surely did. It was just not the 20 laps of the racing that I thought we would have ended up seeing, especially down the stretch. But when it's all said and done, it's in the books. It is done. And again, Chris White is your winner. That'll wrap up our coverage here tonight from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. For coverage of iRacing on LSRTV and CRN, of course, for Jeff Stabnow, Sean Breitzman, and Charles Wooten with Rocket Racing Media. For producer Cody Deemers, I still love you. He done a great job with the little exception of that hiccup there on the audio. Thank you for all he does. Again, Justin Prince, hopefully we can have him back with us next week. Alex Robinson, I know you're a dirt guy, but you did your best as well, and enjoyed your company, working with each other, working that one pavement iRacing event of the year, as you always call it. And James Vining, getting better and better week in, week out, covering on the action on pit road. Wednesday night, don't forget, Northwest Gen 4 Cup Fun Series. It is on the streets of Chicago, our Chicago street race for the drivers of the Northwest. Coverage begins at 11:15 Eastern Time, 8:15 Pacific, non-Wednesday. For everybody on the coverage tonight from Indianapolis, Chris White, the winner. This is Wesley Outland. Good night. We'll see you again on Wednesday. And for the Northwest Truck Series, it is on to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park with now 3 races left into the play.